Namaste everyone. Good evening to all of you. And today we have a special guest in the Lofi Evening Podcast. It's episode 13. And today I'm very excited to introduce my guest. But before we get to that, if you are listening to us, if you are watching us, which is so important, I believe that all of you are enjoying what the conversations that we had with various guests. I want to say thank you for your support. And if you want to know more about us, there's all in the description down below and the guests as well. So without further ado, today we have Eugenia Hek on the show, on the podcast, sorry. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Quite exciting to have you here.
Thank you. It's exciting for me too. It's a pleasure for me being here.
Okay, that's cool.
Thank you.
Why don't you introduce to the listeners and the viewers as well? I think they must be very excited to hear.
Yes, sure. So my name is Eugenia Hek. I'm based here in Shillong. I'm from Shillong. Born and brought up here in Shillong. And for a few years, I left for my education and I worked. So I worked for about 7 years and again for my education. So in total, for about 12 years, I was away from here. And then this year, I came back, 2022, a very good year for me, very exciting year for me. And I'm a yoga teacher now. So I'm a yoga instructor. I teach yoga. And I conduct a lot of workshops in different colleges here in Shillong. If some of you are watching me, I think you'll recognize me. I've been to many of your colleges and it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure for me teaching yoga, talking about my journey. So I'm very happy. So that's what I wanted to say. Before I go further, I would like to thank you all. I'm very glad that I'm here. Namaste. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to share my journey, not just my yoga journey, but how I transformed into a yoga teacher and how did I leave my previous work. That was a cabin attendant. I was an air hostess for one of India's leading airline.
So sorry.
So I'm very excited and thank you very much. I'm very grateful to be here, very thankful to you all for calling me here, inviting me here. And yes, let's
do it.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, cool, man. I like that. I like the energy. I like the positivity, the peace.
Oh, okay. You feel it already?
Yeah, I can feel it. I don't know why, but once you came in, the energy is different.
Oh, yeah? Oh.
I could feel the Lo-Fi podcast lifted to a different dimension.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Nice.
But yeah, hey, it's a real pleasure having you here because we got to give a big shout out to Iba and June if you're watching this as well.
Both of them.
Yeah, they were like, you got to bring her here and all that, So first and foremost, man, I mean, you have huge journey. You have you have traveled a lot.
Yeah.
You're like I told you earlier, here, there, everywhere kind of thing.
Yes.
But your profession has been like more or less here or there, and you have different professions, right? But we'll get to that more. I just want to ask you, man, how do you manage your time? It's a different level altogether. You have classes.
Yeah.
You have, you even work at the same time, right? As a chief advisor, I'm not mistaken.
Executive
advisor
yeah.
in the Kodak Insurance.
Right. Yeah, Very good research done. Good.
That's how the Lo-Fi does. Anyway, so that's how it is. And how do you manage time, man? Seriously.
Managing time, I think it's not difficult. It's just for me personally, the only challenge is that morning when I have to get up from bed. So sometimes still now I still contemplate like, should I wake up or do I take that extra 5 minutes of sleep? But once I'm up, then I'm up and about.
Yeah.
So and I really love having productive days. So whenever any particular day is productive, I do my classes and then I follow up with my clients for Kotak Life. And then right now I'm working on a few different projects. So when I get to work on that and then I give my time on that and I'll try to give my time for my family as well. Yes. My family is very important to me.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So, and at night when I go off to sleep and I just close my eyes and think that 5 seconds or maybe 2 seconds of what I did today, I feel so accomplished. And that's a real pleasure.
That's true.
That's a real pleasure. And whenever I don't have productive days, like today was a very lazy day, I just wanted to
Just
relax.
Peace.
But but before coming here, I'm like, what did I do today? But I'm like, it's okay, Eugenia, it's fine. You'll make it up by, this first podcast that you're doing, which I'm very happy. So I'm like, okay, fine, it's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. So that's how I manage my time. So again, like going back to your question, for me personally, it's just that morning when I have to decide whether do I wake up or not.
Yeah.
But the moment I'm awake, maybe I might take a power nap of 1 hour or maybe 30 minutes
Before you
during
go
the
to
day.
work?
No, during the day.
Oh, okay. So you sleep again, then you wake up. I was like, okay.
Also, the thing about my work, it's part-time. So
Okay.
I don't really have to go to the office every day.
Okay, cool.
So I go maybe thrice a week or just 2 times a week is also fine.
Yeah.
But once I'm up from the bed, then I'm up and about. That's what they say. So
That's really
that's
cool,
what I do.
The way that really interests me is that for me personally, it's like, you don't have the motivation to get up every day, but you'd still get up anyway.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Till now. Sometimes I do wake up late and then I feel like, oh, what is this? What?
Yeah.
I'm not doing justice to my work, to my profession. So, and then I don't feel good for just a few minutes. But then the moment I get back, the moment I get into my mat for teaching or for my personal practice, then everything just falls in place. And it's just a heaven on earth.
Yeah. I like that, man. It's like peace, yet you live in a more or less like a chaotic schedule.
Yeah.
Man, it's like, how do you have that yin yang effect? Seriously, for me personally, if I were to with all due respect, having your life, I'll be quite confused because the thing is, you have to go yoga class. I'll be like, okay, I'm a yoga teacher, so I should be peaceful there. Okay, when I go there, be busy there. It's like, okay, how do you keep these two things in a more or less balanced kind of state? For me personally, that's going to be my mindset because, the students will see me, so I have to be at peace. Even though I'm sweating, even though you can see the tension in my eyes, like today when I came to meet you. So, how do you do that, man? How do you balance life with yoga and everything, because yoga is kind of like, spirituality, rejuvenation of the soul kind of thing.
So, since I've not been practicing for a very long time, but I read a lot of books on yoga and about other yogis and yoginis. So, what I've learned is that even from them, even after you've practiced for, depends, endless number of years also, you still contemplate sometimes. You still cannot balance that the negativity and positivity. But what I've learned and what I feel is balance comes with time. And even if I get angry or even if anything goes wrong, it's not that I do not get angry. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what I wanted to say.
Okay,
So
there
I
you
don't
go,
get
guys.
angry.
There you go, guys.
I especially now that I'm driving, it really ticks me off, and then I'm like, okay,
Peace,
calm
peace.
down.
Shut up, you! Anyway.
So I do get, but then in just a few minutes, I try to get back to my normal self.
Okay.
But compared to the previous years or the years before when I was not practicing, I've become way, way more calm. And I don't like small petty things, they don't matter to me anymore. So even if, girls, I have a lot of girlfriends, so a lot of gossip and all that. So nowadays, maybe if I would have known that something talking about my family or my cousin or myself, maybe the past 5 years, if I would have heard the same thing, the past 5 years, I would have reacted. Okay.
True.
But now I'm just like, oh, it's okay. Why would I want to waste my energy thinking about it or even talking about it? So, and the thing, it's just time. With time, everything subsides.
True.
So nowadays, I've learned how to balance that.
Okay.
Somehow, the art of balancing. But I've still not reached a goal where, I'm completely like any of these monks. No, I've not reached there
Not to
yet.
that part.
No,
You're
not
not graduated to Shaolin monks.
No, not
Okay,
yet,
cool.
not yet. It will take time.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
I will also.
Yeah. Then later on, it's yoga and kung fu at the same time. Anyway, but that'll be cool though. Seriously, I'll join
You
that.
call me here again, maybe after I don't know how many years,
Yeah.
and then you'll see a different person
Exactly.
altogether.
So you have black belt, and I do yoga too. It's like okay. Yeah, that'd be cool though. Anyway, but yeah, I hope you do that. But yeah, it's like your balancing thing. It's really amazing because you said that because we have a stereotype where we say a yoga teacher will be a yoga teacher. She's very peaceful, or he or she will be very peaceful, very calm, right? But then you said with years you develop that kind of like,
Yes.
not shall we say thick skin, but kind of like your own small bubble where you live in.
Right.
So how does this point where how do you manage, because all of us have kind of like a spiritual self, right? You all of us, we are more or less, I feel like I'm giving a spiritual sermon here, but we are here in a world where it's so chaotic when it comes spiritually, right? How do you have that sense of because what's inside you reflect outside as well, right?
Right.
Because you're going to talk to your clients and various other people who sees you and who's going to see you now. They'll be like, oh, so she's a yoga instructor, but like kind of that thing. So how do you keep yourself like at peace, more or less? Like maybe when you have a very stressful day, I think for the people out there, they'll be like, for me personally, if I have like a very stressful day, I just like I don't know what I do. I hang out with friends just to have like kind of like a zen kind of thing. What do you do to have a more peaceful kind of calm?
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I listen to a lot of podcasts from many positive, like positive thinkers. I watch Jay Shetty's podcast a lot.
Oh, Jay Shetty. Yes.
Yeah. And if it's not just his podcast, also maybe through just his Instagram feed, and then I see a lot of positivity there. And then during the day, if I've had like my brain is like occupied with too many things, then I just take some time out for myself, just sit by myself, and I just try to control my breath, watch my breath. And so these are the 5 very important things, like 5 things that we should do. So it's with our senses. So just sit in a quiet place and try to first listen. What can you hear? Okay, and then with your eyes closed, try to see, and then try to smell. And then what kind of odor can you get? Exactly. And then try to taste. So you're not having anything, or maybe you can just have a sip of water, and then so you're just awakening your awareness. So sometimes we just have a glass of water. It's just water. That's what we think, right? True. I mean, water can't taste different. But so if you try to awake these senses on your body, then you can become more calm. It calms your mind, it calms your breathing, and then try to control your breath. Try to make your prolong your inhalation, prolong your exhalation. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I get angry, then it's a different thing. Wow. So instead, I get angry very rarely, very rarely. I'll get angry.
That's good.
Yeah, but instead of shouting, like screaming or fighting or verbal fight, I mean, with someone, I wouldn't do that, which I think I need to work on it.
That's true.
I would just go to my room and I would cry for a bit and let my emotions out, which is good also. I feel. I mean, it's good. But the thing which I need to work on is, I think I need to just open up and speak to the person whom I'm mad at.
Oh, the mad person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. True that.
I should just open up and tell that person instead of just locking myself in a room and crying out. So, but that happens very rarely, in a year, maybe once. Or twice.
A bucket list that you should have once a year. We should get pissed off.
Yeah. Because nowadays things don't get me mad easily.
That's cool, man. I mean, at least people could understand that, because we tend to live in a world, like I said, it's very chaotic. We have lots of people, lots of hate, shall we say, but then you come into the scene and telling us to breathe, which is very, very cool, because we almost sometimes forget to breathe.
Yes, and it's weird. I'm sorry to cut you.
No problem. Go ahead. It's conversation. It's conversation. Go ahead, man.
So yeah, as you were saying, we forget to breathe. It's the first thing that we would do, right? Breathing. The first thing, the moment we come out from the mother's womb, that's the first thing we do, and the last thing we do is breathing. But somehow we've lost the art of breathing. We've not learned the art of breathing. And controlling our breath. So our breath is everything. Like, when you're too scared or when you're panicking. And before any interview, I would remember before my vivas. So when I was a cabin attendant, when I was an air hostess, we always have our exams every year. And then the last day we would have our vivas. And that time, my goodness, so we would have first aid vivas, safety vivas. My heart, I feel like, So that time I was not into yoga at all. And then thinking about all of that, and now sometimes, yes, I do get my heartbeat a little up, maybe when I have to.
You're still human. So it's okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
But we can control through our breath. So always knowing the art of breathing. So everything can be controlled through the breath.
Okay, I like that. But I think right now we are like a little bit fast forwarding, and because you're now a yoga teacher, but let's just go back a bit about your life and all that, right? Your journey, how you became a yoga teacher, But you were in the aviation business for a while, right? Yes. And that's quite amazing, because that's why I was saying that your life is more or less like a different kind of stages where you had different kind of experiences, which I do encourage every young people out there to do that, which is quite important, right? So being in the aviation industry, right? I mean, it must be not just stressful, but I think it must be very joyful.
Oh, it is.
You've traveled to a lot of places.
Yes, it's wonderful. Being in the aviation, we get to travel to a lot of places, try out different cuisines, live in fancy hotels. That's very nice.
I really want to do that, man. First class.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's truly a pleasure being there in the aviation industry, and the staff tickets. So whenever I fly anywhere back then, so even if I had to come from any of the cities back to Guwahati, the flight fare is lesser than the cab fare from Guwahati to Shillong.
Seriously?
So I would just pay like 600, 700 bucks from coming from any of the cities to Guwahati. So that's also one of the perks. So I've enjoyed my life being in aviation, and the part where I was staying with my friends, my girl gang. That's what we call ourselves, the girl gang. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So I've had a share of everything. That part when I stayed with them, with my friends, and then the transformative era, which I would call for myself, where I would stay alone. So that's also one of the very beautiful things, and it's very typical. I mean, it's very common here in Shillong that like we stay with our parents. I think in India as a whole, so that we still live with our parents, which is very common. And again, now that I'm back in Shillong, again I live with my parents, with my family. So, but I'm very happy. I'm very glad that I got the chance to stay alone, live on my own, and manage everything.
Being independent as well.
Yes, being very independent, and even just even if you have to manage paying your house bills, your water bills, your gas bills, but that gives you a lot of experience in every way.
Exactly.
You're doing you have to manage all of these things on your own, and you're working at the same time. You're earning a lot of money at the same time,
true.
And you know how to spend your money. You have to be wise at that. Yeah. So I'm very happy. I'm very glad that I got to see all of that phase of life.
It's like it's a plethora of things, shall we say, that you're doing, right?
Yes.
A diverse kind of thing where it just shows that how much, like, once you get into the aviation business, is such a it's such not just enriching to people that you serve, but also to yourself as well, right?
Yes.
But then like, you are a person who's kind of like a family gal kind of thing.
Oh yeah, very much.
Family gal, and you have lots of you have your brothers, and you have yourself as well, and your mom and all that, right?
Yes.
And your dogs as well.
My dog.
So huge, another family there. So man, like, before you went for the aviation industry, was it like overnight that you said, okay, I'll be going to the aviation industry, or was it?
So it's a very funny story. So
Okay.
I did my education from Chennai.
Mhm.
And my mom, especially, she was not at all happy with me joining the aviation. So she was the only one who was. Actually, she was not the only one. No one was happy with me
Mhm.
joining
Okay,
aviation.
okay.
But the rest of them, when I told them how much I wanted and this, and
Mhm.
like I really want to get in there, that was after I cracked the interview and everything was
Okay.
done. It was just like for me to go to Delhi, start
Okay.
my training. And my mom was like a little fussy about
Mhm.
it, like, I spend a lot on your
Mhm.
education, which I completely agree,
To
because
agree.
for a cabin crew, the qualification is just your 12th pass,
Mhm,
so you can become a cabin crew in India.
mhm. Okay.
So I completely get my mom's point.
Mhm.
She's been sending me right from my 11th grade
Okay,
to
okay,
Chennai. So
okay.
I studied in a residential school,
Mhm.
and then I did my graduation
Gotcha.
there. And then obviously she
St.
wouldn't
Mary's,
be.
I think so.
I did my 10th till St. Mary's.
Yeah, there you
Very
go.
good. 11, 12th, I was in St. Joseph's Residential.
Mhm.
And then I was in Madras Christian College.
Oh, you were in Madras Christian
Yes,
College,
yes,
the
yes,
top
yes,
tier,
yes,
the
yes.
top tier. Wow. Okay.
So
Cool.
so that's why she didn't want me. It was very normal for her to not be very happy for me joining the aviation, but at that point of time, it was something that I really wanted,
Okay.
So, and then somehow I convinced her, and with the help of my other family members, my aunties, my uncles. So in our family, whatever happens, like you can say it's personal, like it's my personal thing, but in our family, there's nothing such as personal, and there's no personal space also in our family.
Yeah, you have a huge family, man.
It's a huge
Seriously.
family. So, and we have celebrations every week. So yesterday there was a celebration. Today there's a celebration, and tomorrow again there's a celebration.
So we have to get you in. Oh, it was like when you're trying to get you, you're like really like schedules.
Yeah.
But thanks for making the time, man. Thanks for making the time. Seriously.
No, when I left them, I
Like
said, no, I'm going. I'll be
Yeah.
back in an hour or so. And they're like, how can you go? How can you just leave your guests? Oh, okay. So getting
Yeah.
back to that, so I kind of convinced my aunties, my uncles, and they somehow convinced my mom.
Okay.
And then finally my mom agreed, and she was like, okay, fine, she wants to do it. So my family has always been very supportive for me. Even during my yoga journey, also very supportive. And even when I joined aviation, they were very supportive. And after a year, I think after 2 years, I got my promotion to become a lead cabin attendant.
Oh.
And my mom was like, okay, not
mean
a regular.
business.
Yeah. So she's doing good. And she became very proud of me to be there. And then I started explaining it to them that, being a cabin crew, being an air hostess is not just simply just going there. They don't just teach you to just go there, pour a Coke for someone.
True.
There's a full training that we have to go through. And you'll be surprised to see my other batchmates.
Yeah.
There's one girl who's got she was doing her PhD,
Okay.
and she was also a crew with us.
Wow.
And there are people who's done their MBAs, and so it's their dream. So so it was the same thing with me. And at that point of time, so it's like that with me. Like when I want something, I want it so bad, and I make sure that I get it. Yeah, achieve it.
Yeah,
so my family has always been very supportive.
So cool, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is that your family was there, and in some way you have to prove them wrong. But I think it was just a small phase.
Yeah.
But weren't you nervous at all? Like flying in a plane, right? In the air. And being in the air, it's like a different level of scariness. Once there's turbulence, man, scary as F. But seriously. But weren't you nervous at all? Like,
so the thing is, I wouldn't say I was nervous. In the beginning, I was a little, but then after 2 years, when I got my promotion and I became a in-flight in charge, so I was the in charge of the others also in the flight, the other crew members. So already, like for me here in Shillong, my height might look average, but once we leave Shillong, we are like the tiniest. Okay,
so
that's I'm
true.
very short.
Facts.
So I'm the one who is looking after, I'm the one one who's in charge over the other cabin crew, but I'm the smallest. So now I cannot behave like, like a teeny tiny, timid kind of person. So somehow that boosts up my confidence a lot. And even if I was nervous about anything, and whenever we do these Kolkata Chennai flights, so a lot of passengers, they come from all the way from Bangladesh to Calcutta to Chennai for their treatment. And so we used to call this an ambulance flight. So we have a lot of sick passengers, and we do get these medical emergencies. And at those medical emergencies, so imagine having a person who's sick on your flight, and there's turbulence, and you have to manage the cockpit. So there were so many things that we had to do and manage at that point of time. So and at that point of time, I can't show that I'm scared or timid, so I would just fake it. If they're watching now, they'll be like,
fake it till you make it. I like that.
I'll fake it, and then actually my heart is like beating, like I feel like it's just coming out, but I'll be like, I'll just go, and we all calm and be like, it's okay, it's fine. And my crew members would always ask me, Eugenia, how are you so calm? And then I'll tell them, no, I wasn't, I was very scared. Like, I had a passenger who had a brain hemorrhage in my flight. So at that point of time, we didn't know that it was a brain hemorrhage. Like he would just not respond, and then we had to make an emergency landing. And then I had a child who went unconscious in the flight, and he started getting cyanosis. So it's very scary. And there was another passenger who almost died in my flight. But somehow we made an emergency landing. And I'm very sorry to say that, but at that point of time, I would just pray, like, it's okay, just be fine till we land. And then the passenger was shifted to the ambulance. And I, like, when he was in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, that's when he passed away. So but it wasn't in my flight. I'm very sorry to say that. It wasn't in my hands, because it's a long procedure from there. And then they do a lot of inquiry, what happens, and it's a long thing. The investigation goes on for months, and sometimes we get derostered. So they remove all our flights, to go for the investigation. And then they see, and sometimes they see whether that emergency landing was required or not. And so it is a scary thing, but you always have to be, like, in your best self, even if you're tired, even if you're sleepy, you haven't slept well, or you're so stressed, or you're having a lot of personal problems. You cannot show that. So, the moment you stand there and greet the passengers, you have to be completely well groomed with a lot of smiles. And so I've been doing that for many years, which has also helped me now. The confidence talking to anyone. Before I wasn't like this.
You're more or less introverted.
And then very difficult. Now I think I can hold a conversation with anyone.
You're holding a conversation with me right now. So that's cool. I think you're not just progressed, but you have made, I think you're professional now. You can have your own podcast now. Congratulations. So that's quite cool. But man, I mean, that's quite scary. Like someone dying, someone, it is. Especially being in charge. But then you as a person, right? Like going in to the aviation industry, and for anyone out there, I think who's listening or who's watching as well, I like, you must get your health in check too, right? Because going up there, I mean, you have to be at your best, but if you like have nauseousness or you have some kind of air sickness, I think for you personally, I think you won't perform well. So you just have to stay composed during that whole thing, right?
Always, yes.
So that's quite scary. But do you do anything like before yoga and everything, right? But you have to be fit person.
We have to always.
Okay.
So even before I started yoga, I was always towards the. I was always conscious about my weight, always conscious about my body. I was not in the best of health because of the routine and the lack of sleep. And there was no routine. Forget about routine. So there was a day, maybe I'll wake up at 1 in the morning. The next day I'll be waking up at 1 in the afternoon. The next day I'll be waking up at 5. So there's no routine. And And so even before yoga, I would always try to keep myself fit. I would force myself to go to the gym, and I would encourage myself to go to the gym by buying a lot of gym, like these active wear,
exactly.
which I am using them now.
There you go, man. Invest on the future. That's very important.
So I thought maybe if I spend a lot of money on all of these active wear, it would encourage me to get into the gym, but gym is not my thing.
Okay.
So I would remember there was one point I was staying in Delhi, and I took a gym membership, and I think the gym timing was around 5:30. And even if I landed early from my flight, maybe at 4, I'll just stay in the airport just to skip gym. So I would go along with my friend, and then just for him to not know that I'm back and my flight is done. So he'll have that he'll keep thinking that I'm still in the flight, so he'll go off to the gym. So I'll not go with I'll just pretend that I'm still in flight, but I'm just chilling at the airport just to miss gym. So I hated gym that bad.
It's not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Fitness is a
But you look like you work out.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. No, man.
I can see the pumped shoulders.
Thanks for noticing that. I really like that. Yeah,
You should have worn something short. No, you could be showing your muscles.
I don't know. I feel like it'll be, in my opinion, I don't like to show too much. It's like,
Okay, that's
so
good.
it's like more or less like, I don't know, man. It's just, I like sweatshirts and all that. But seriously, I mean, what you said is very true. I think I should try a shirt once in the Lofi Evenings.
Yes.
Comment down below, guys, if you want me to wear a shirt. Okay? I'll be opening my OnlyFans very soon. Just joking. But comment down below too. Anyway.
Yes, they will.
Yeah. So, but seriously, man. So you didn't go to the gym, but nowadays, I mean, fitness is not just about going to the gym.
Yeah,
It's
right.
about having a
True.
more overall kind of overall well-being, right? Psychologically
True.
and doing many things. But so you have to be fit for
Yes, we
training.
have to, and every quarterly we have a quarterly weight check. So we get examined by not examined, just the weight, and then the person there'll be these concerned people from the office to check our weight, and in case we are above the bar, then we need to do a list of tests. So I would never I've never fallen in that category also, and sometimes if we're overweight, then they would be derosted again. So all the flights are removed, and that's a very sad part. It's very demotivating,
Yeah, that's
especially
true.
for me. But again, it depends person to person. So there are a few people who would intentionally do that to get that 1 month off.
Okay.
But for me, I feel that's very demeaning. Demeaning, I don't know.
But it feels like it's how shall we say? It's like you're not doing justice to your work.
Correct.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Okay. That's very cool, man. I mean, but like being in such a place where life has, it's like on the edge kind of thing, right? Because like you said, you had experiences where you had passengers who are fainting, passengers who had like brain hemorrhage. That is like one thing that I it's like quite scary. You think about it. So you meet all kinds of passengers,
Right.
So maybe just like have you met a passenger that you really get pissed off? Like
All the time, especially like in India, people do not respect cabin crew. They don't respect them. They feel like, okay, she's nothing but someone who just serves you water.
Yeah.
But the training that we go through, it's a 3 months training. The manual that we have, it was 600 pages back then, but
you
now
have to
it's
read.
increased to 900 pages.
Holy
Before I
cow, man.
So we have to study a lot, and the mental stress that we get, during our training is so much that they prepare us. I feel that's what they do. They prepare
So the
us
3 months,
before-
like, very intense training.
very intense training. Yeah, so we have safety trainings, and so we most of the airlines, they have different types of aircrafts. So we have to learn this how to operate a door, and then during an emergency we have our different commands, and we have to by heart all of that. And then we do firefighting. If there's a
Okay.
fire on
Yep.
board, how do we fight the fire? And we know the basics of the cockpit. and then going to the medical section again, first aid. So we all trained first aiders. So my mom is very proud of that. So whenever anything happens, I'm like, hey, she's also a trained
She's
first
already
aider.
there. Oh, I
So
like
we
that.
have doctors and nurses at home, but my mom is more proud of this trained first aider. For her, doctors and all are nothing. She's a
She is
first aider.
Yeah, exactly. That's better, right?
Yeah,
Come on,
she's very
man.
sweet.
She's in the airline industry. Come on. Man.
Yeah.
That's true.
So she's very proud of that. And I'm sorry, what were we talking? I just lost track.
Yes, no problem. So we were saying that what I was saying just now anyway.
Okay,
So,
it's very difficult. I was the passengers.
The passengers,
Right.
yes.
I go off
She's
track
running the
like
show
this.
now. She's in the Lofi Eugenia's podcast now. Go ahead, interview me now.
I talk so much.
I like that. I like that. Come on, man. This is the conversation needs to be one thing that people should know who you are, right? And
Yeah,
people are
right,
knowing
right.
who you are right
Yes,
now.
yes,
So yeah,
yes.
go ahead.
So we do get these passengers, especially not that I just want to point out the people from this place, but Patna passengers. The place
Okay.
is from Bihar, Patna. So those passengers, they really annoy us, and some people not just from there, but from anywhere. Okay, they can just be that. It can be someone from Shillong also.
Yeah, exactly.
So they come with that intention to fight. I think so. That's what I
Seriously?
feel. So which is there, standing there and wishing them like. I don't think it's difficult to just, even if you don't want to say good morning, you just put a slight smile.
Yeah.
And the way he looks at us, he'll look at me. There was this passenger, he looked at me, he's like, horrible. You guys are horrible. And then I'm like, oh my God.
It's like right in your face.
Yeah. So
Wow.
there are people who are like that. They come with the intention to fight. And before I practiced yoga, even I used to fight a lot. Okay. And
There you go.
my Hindi is not very great, so I can speak good Hindi. But the thing is, if I have to fight with someone, no, I can't fight in Hindi. So
Okay.
whenever
We know all the slangs, but no problem with that. But Hindi, we don't know. That's what happens to me anytime. So yeah, go ahead.
So if it's a normal conversation, I can converse well
Okay,
in
okay.
Hindi. But if I have to, like raise my voice or try to put a person in place that time, only the English comes out. Okay. So whenever anything as such happen, I'll ask my crew, does he speak in English? And then they'll say yes. Then I'll say, okay, fine. Then I'll go and fight. And I don't like it when people, they put down our crew members and the way they talk to them. There's always a way of talking.
Kind of
no?
quite misogynist kind
Yes,
of comments
yes.
and all
So
that.
even if you're a cleaner in the airport, even if you're a pilot of an airline, you're a captain, I think everybody requires the same respect. And that's what I would do. So yeah, before I left the job there, all these cleaners and the catering staff and pretty much everyone, which I feel very nice and proud also.
There you
So
go.
everyone, so that last month, whoever I met, they're like, Eugenia, you're leaving, we're losing a gem. And, so it feels good because all these cleaners in Chennai, we would call them akkas.
Okay,
Akka.
okay.
So it's like Kong, no?
Oh, like, yeah. Okay.
So even some of them, they knew like, oh, you're leaving. So I said, yeah. But then they gave me their blessings.
Okay.
So it's like that.
Okay.
But yeah, there are people who would just annoy the shit out of us. Like,
That's how it is,
crazy.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to meet lots of people, though. That's how it is, right? But I think you met some memorable ones. I think
Yes, I
you
did.
met, I think that's a memorable photo that you had with this one teacher from army school.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. She taught
So,
in
army school, and I think she was going on a flight to somewhere.
Guwahati.
Guwahati,
Yeah.
yes.
And I announced that I'm from Shillong and I speak Khasi. So that's one very good thing to strike a conversation with the passengers, So if I announce I'm from Shillong, and one good thing about Shillong is the moment anybody hears the word Shillong, they'll be like, "Who's from Shillong?" And then I'll be, "It's me," and we'll just have a conversation like.
Yeah. Like,
So it's the same thing
normal.
with the teacher. And she was such a genuine lady. She was such a wonderful person, very warm, very genuine, very kind. And she shared her experience about how she stayed here. And there's one more, I don't know if you came across that. There's one more passenger. I think I did not have a picture with the passenger. So this is a passenger who's visually impaired.
Okay.
And I met this passenger, I think, when I just started my career, my flying career. So back then, I was not a lead cabin attendant.
Okay.
And so whenever these visually impaired passengers, they come on our flight, we give them a briefing. Because when we do the demo about the
Mhm.
life jacket and the safety exits, they cannot see. So we give them a special briefing, visually impaired briefing. And so I did that. So, and it's always the duty of the junior most to do that.
Okay.
Okay, so I did that, and then I explained this is the call button, this is the life jacket, the seat belt, so on and so forth. And then I think after 4 years or so, the same passenger came in my flight,
Okay.
and me being me, I did not remember the passenger. And I told my crew. So 4 years later, I was a lead cabin
Mhm.
attendant, so I didn't have to do the briefing. The junior most had to go and do the briefing.
Okay.
So I told my crew, go and give the visually impaired briefing. And this passenger, old man, so they're a little adamant. So he's like, no, I don't want to listen. I know everything. And then I told her, no, just. And then I said, okay, it's fine, it's okay. Then before I went behind, so I thought, so I'm always, I always get convinced only if I go myself, I go and approach the passenger. Maybe that passenger will be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, let me just go and talk to him. So I said, I'd just like to brief you about this. And then he just kept quiet for a while. And he said, you are Eugenia, right? From Shillong. And my heart, like, how? Because at that point of time, I didn't even finish my announcement also
Okay.
to introduce myself or to
Mhm.
introduce the rest of them. And then I was just shocked. Okay, I froze for a bit. And then he said, ever since that flight I took in so and so date, so and so year, he
Mhm.
remembered the date and the
Wow.
year.
Wow.
Miss Eugenia from Shillong gave me the briefing. And ever since, I've never taken the briefing again. And
Wow.
I just had tears in my eyes. Like, he being so old,
Mhm.
a visually impaired man, he remembers me.
Okay.
And then when he told me on this particular date I took this flight, and then you briefed me, and when he told me the date, I understood that, because a very less visually impaired people would
True.
come.
True.
So over my 7 years of flying, I think I can count how many times have I given this briefing also. So I was just awestruck. So that is one of the most beautiful moments that I will always remember of flying.
Yeah.
So he's one of, the most memorable passenger.
Person, yeah. Shout out to you if you listen to us. Definitely, she's here with us. So she's an amazing person. I'm having a conversation with her right now. So it's very cool. So, but yeah, man. I mean, meeting different passengers as well. But that comes also with the dark side of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you look at aviation as a whole, it has really evolved over the years. And
True.
we have the Malaysia Airlines with crash to a mountain and
Right.
go to sea and all that.
Mhm.
Terrorism going up very high,
True.
right? So do you have now has it evolved when the time started? I mean, when you joined and now, so the last time that you came out of it, how has it been when you have to tackle such kind of? I think they do give you training relating to that
Yes,
as well
yes,
nowadays,
yes,
right?
yes.
I think. So what are like the main like the triggers, or maybe even though some people, even though they like go through the check-in and all that stuff, they still can carry weapons and all that stuff, right?
Right.
So how do you have you ever had that situation, or do you have you ever encounter, or do you almost encountered, or just take me to the
Personally,
process.
me, no.
Okay.
But my friends have. They've had such situations, and then the flight gets delayed, a lot of checking happens, and all of that. But over the years, what I've seen is when I just started flying, the passengers they would still listen to us. Probably it's because the flight fare was a little bit higher than how it is now.
Yeah, that's
Now
true.
there are a lot of offers where you just get a flight, you just pay 999 or 899 or 799 for a flight fare. So anybody can come, and then not that I'm saying these people, they don't behave well, but what they do is, maybe it's their first time flying, and they are just like that, probably. So even when they come in the flight, they don't behave well, and a lot of eve teasing and all of that also started.
True.
So, but for that, again, we have a procedure. We can either declare them unruly, and when we declare them unruly, they get banned from that airline or another few more airlines.
Okay.
So all of that is there. But over the years, that has happened. But it's also good. The pros of it is also good that like people from all walks of life can also fly now, and we meet such wonderful people again. Like, you know, I've met a bunch of wonderful people, like from every walk of life. And there's a lady who was telling me that, you know, she never thought that she'll ever be on that airplane. And it's so nice, it's so wonderful to hear such stories. True. It has its pros and cons. And talking about the employees, back then when I joined in 2015, so the colleagues and my co-joinees, so we were very scared of our seniors. Okay, so seniors are like, okay, we respect them a lot. But nowadays, some 18-year-old girl, 19-year-old girl is joining, they don't care. They really don't care. Like, you know, you tell them something like, I'm just here for a year. I'm giving this exam. I'm giving my IELTS exam. I'll be leaving the country in just 2-3 months. I don't care. So, you know, they have that attitude. Yeah.
Ego.
So, and then the way they talk to the passengers, like we would treat our passengers like kings and queens, because that's how we were taught. And probably, though it's just a few years of gap between me and them, maybe, hardly maybe 10 years.
True.
But I think they're very different. The generation now, they don't care about anything. So that's one of the cons. I'm sorry, girls, whoever's watching me.
That is kind of like the realization that you need to be professional in what you do.
Right.
Thing, right? I think if you're exposed to a job where it's very professional, I mean, you have to be professional. I mean, they have to face reality that you have to be professional, and you cannot just have your ego on the tip of your nose, or kind of thing, right? But yeah, I mean, one of the things that really is something that, how do you deal with different crewmates? Yeah,
so that's also one thing that's helped me become who I am today, because we will never fly with the same set of crew. So even if we fly maximum, it's for 4 days that we're working with the same people. But every day, it's always someone new who comes. So it's always an easy flight if I fly with the more senior crew members. But handling the young ones, it's a little challenging.
Tedious,
because as I told you, that's how they are. But it has helped me evolve so much as a person, understand every individual as a person. And again, even the cockpit crew, the captain, the first officer, every day we fly with different people. And then sometimes we have a captain who's very senior, who's maybe almost retiring. So he's like, you know, and we also have pilots, expats, like foreigners who are here.
Okay.
So sometimes it gets very difficult talking to them. I do not understand the accent. Spanish captains, we do not understand the accent. And then sometimes they're very moody or very...
mood swings.
Yeah. And even with the girls also, my crew members in the cabin. So, and sometimes they have a fight behind, and I'm not even aware about this in the forward. So, and I used to think that I would always love to have a happy flight. So after every flight, we have something called as a debriefing.
Okay.
So we talk about, and then in the debriefing, we're like, this person did this, that. And I'm like, okay, I was not even aware about this. So I didn't know that this so and so happened. But working with different personalities has helped me a lot understand people. So now I can't just take one person's side. I have to listen to both of them. And I always try to be diplomatic as much as possible, not taking anybody's side. So yeah, that is about it. Yeah,
that's cool, man. You have to be like very diplomatic.
Yeah.
If I were in your place, I mean, I'll get pissed off at everyone. I was like, hey, what did you say?
And sometimes my crew members, they have some misunderstanding with the ground staff, like this person did this, and now you're in a position where you cannot take the crew member's side.
Exactly.
You'll have to, listen to both ends.
Exactly.
So
and plus, if they're your friends, it makes it more challenging.
Yeah.
So you believe me or believe her, right? That kind of thing. And man, you have to make some hard decisions. That's quite
But
challenging.
it taught me so much
Yeah.
about how you learn
Mature
about
and-
people behaviors. And some girls in front of me, they'll be acting all busy and like workaholic, doing everything. But I'll always know. So whenever they're behind, they don't do anything. But I always know somehow.
There you go, guys. There you go. It's all about experiences and the
Yes,
wisdom that you get
right.
from it, right? That's very cool, man. But the thing is about, I think I gotta give. You had a lot of memorable people in your crew as well. I think one of the ones that really trained you was Krishna Chetri, right?
Yes, Mr. Krishna Chetri.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, yes, yes.
how has it been working under him? And,
Oh, he's one of the people I really, really look up to. And he's the one who gave me the name, What the Heck.
What the heck?
Yes.
What the heck?
What the heck? So that's how I have the name on my Instagram account, Eugenia What the Heck. So Heck is my last name.
Yeah, obviously. But then you visit that.
Eugenia What the Heck. So every time he sees me, and not just him, even my colleagues at work. So I'll be like towards the end of the room or at the end of the office, and they'll be like, Eugenia, what the heck? So that's him. And he's someone I really look up to. He was a trainer. So he has flown for Jet Airways for about 15 years or so. And then he became a trainer for us at Indigo. And he's one of the most genuine person that I've met, and a family man. And he would talk a lot about his daughter and about his experiences. So whenever he teaches us, he's not the bookish person. So like, leave the manual aside. I'll teach you guys from my experience. So, and I think in the year 2018 or 17, he left his job there, like being a trainer in Indigo, and he started his own institute at his hometown in Siliguri or Bagdogra somewhere. So I've always looked up to that because, for someone to leave a corporate job who's paying you living in the city, and then now you leave that, you move back, you start something from the scratch, you start something of your own. It requires a lot of courage and a belief in yourself also, which I saw that in him. So I've always looked up to him. And his wife is also a cabin crew. She still flies for Air India.
So total like aviation family.
Yes.
Very cool.
And and he's very genuine and fun also. So none of his classes were boring. Very fun, very interactive. And there was this only one time, I think he got so mad at us that he started shouting at us. Like, we were late for the training, and then he had to answer. He was answerable to other people as well. And then he started scolding us. And then after that, he felt so bad. He went to the canteen, bought, I think, 3 boxes of chocolates. And then he came, he's like, okay, this is for you guys for shouting at you all. So he's like so warm and very sweet. Very sweet person.
I think he's a great father too.
He is. So,
shout out, Mr. Krishna.
Mr.
I don't
Krishna
even know you. But yes, shout out to you, man.
I really very commendable about your research done.
Thank you. We the Lofi Evenings, we try our best to get to the core.
Oh yeah.
So but go ahead. So I'm flaunting myself right now.
No,
yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean, having those people, those gems of people,
yes,
I think it's
right.
really enriching, no? And I think your aviation journey has really helped you so much.
A lot,
right?
yes.
But when did it happen that you felt like aviation is too much for you? Like, I think because obviously now you're here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So
that's right.
when did that point come where you feel like, I think I'm done with aviation? And
So that happened. I joined aviation in 2015.
wow.
So 15, 16, 17 was still like, really good, vibrant years. Body is very strong. And then that feeling started coming to me when I would get sick after every flight. So as a
nauseous
human, like after every flight, because of the lack of sleep, I would come back, and then I still have tonsillitis. So every time my tonsils would get inflamed because of the lack of sleep, and then I would get fever. And then, then I understood that no, I require a lot of sleep, a lot of rest. And that's when I thought, okay, fine, it's not something that I can do lifelong. So I always knew that flying is not lifelong. but I'm more of like that person who lives at the moment.
Okay.
So in that particular, and I remember one of my dad's twin brother, when I wanted to join the aviation, so he was also one of the people who was not very happy for me joining the aviation back then.
He was in the aviation and he's
No. He was not.
Oh,
He's
okay.
a professor here in
Okay.
St. Anthony's
Okay,
College. Yeah.
I passed it from there too.
Oh, you must be knowing him, Sir Frederick Lamare. He's the HOD of botany. Yes.
Okay,
botany,
I'm
I think.
political science. So
Okay,
but
okay.
yeah,
It's okay.
yeah,
Let's not
no
get
problem.
there.
No problem. Okay, good. It's not about him. It's about her
Yeah,
today.
it's about
Yes,
me,
about
yeah.
you.
So he was one of the people who was not happy for me joining the aviation, and then he told me, "What are you going to do after this?" And then I'm like, "Oh, okay, I don't know."
Mhm.
And then but then there was something which inside of me was telling me that it's okay, you'll figure things out.
Mhm.
And I'm very glad that I did figure things out, and I'm here today. And just a few days ago, I was talking to him, and he was telling me how proud he is of me, because I went to his college as well, and his colleagues told him,
Okay.
like, were very impressed with my workshops
Okay.
conducted there. So he's like, yeah, I'm very proud of you, what you're doing now.
There you go.
Yeah, so
That's really cool, man. You just have that confidence now.
yeah.
And just like your family approves of it even after you're done with it
Yes,
too.
yes.
Man. But yes, I think coming back to like your aviation, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes we have lots of like people applying for aviation. I just want to make this show more informative, right? So what is like the tips for most
Okay.
who wants to join the
Mhm,
aviation
mhm,
business? Because
mhm,
there are quite a lot, and I've had friends who really want to know more about it,
Okay,
and especially
okay.
for people out there who are doing it.
Yes. I
What
keep
is,
getting
like-
these questions.
yeah.
Even today, I spoke to one girl from here, from Shillong.
Okay, so what is
So,
like
okay, let me
best
tell you all.
tips from
Yes.
the expert? Hey, yeah.
Yes. So I would say is what I would like to say is that the first thing is your qualification is just the 12th. You'll have to be a 12th pass for becoming a cabin crew in India, and applying obviously. And going to the main part is the interview. So once you go for the interview, what they're trying to see there is, they're not checking your vocabulary, how good your English is, how bad your Hindi is. They're not doing that. That's not what they're checking. They're just looking how confident you are and whether you're willing to speak or not. Are you willing to talk or not? Are you willing to learn or not? Because the rest of the trainings and the verbiage which you use to the passengers, all of that will be taught.
Yeah,
But then you need to have the level of confidence to say, yes, I can do this.
the willingness kind of thing.
Yes. So I remember when I did my interview, the first time I tried, I got rejected because my Hindi was, I wasn't willing to speak. Forget about bad. Forget about Hindi being bad. I didn't even say a word. I didn't even utter a word. So he asked me something. I had to speak something in Hindi, and then I'm like, I can speak in Hindi, and then I just kept quiet. I did not say anything. So because of that, obviously, I did not select me. But later on, I got to know. I somehow learned that they do not check how good you're speaking, and there'll be group discussions again on that. They'll give you any very general topics. So they just want to see how do you work in a group. Are you willing to put out your views, your points in the group? And when it comes to your personal interview, again, you can just speak and show that you're humble. Because again, for a cabin crew, you cannot be very proud and pricey and all of that. So just that, it's not difficult.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people wasting their money, I would say, wasting their money going for these trainings. I don't know, one of these institutes here, I learned that they charge over $1 lakh for the training just for 6 months, or I don't know, 1 year training. And I myself, I did not go for any of these trainings. So don't waste your time. Don't waste your time going for those trainings. And if you want to, you can just speak to me for free.
Okay, there you go, man.
I wouldn't want someone to just go and waste, $1 lakh studying there. Maybe if they want to go for a professional course like a hotel management, it's a different thing.
True.
But if they just want to become a crew member, a cabin attendant, I would tell you all, do not waste that money, and instead work more. You can spend more time on how to speak public speaking, because that will happen. You'll have a lot of like group discussions during your trainings, and then work more on your Hindi again, which mine was very bad back then. So because it's very mandatory that you have to know two languages. It is, yes. Because we have our announcements and all. So over the years, my announcements are like very good. Yeah.
Obviously, experience is going to be very, very good.
Yeah. So that will come eventually. It'll come for everyone.
Okay. That's quite cool. I mean, you have to understand that, like, you're very true, because sometimes I see them wasting some things which they're not supposed to waste, and at least you can give them tips, because most of them out there, they'll always be like, how to do this, how to do that, and I think it's good that at least they know a bit of what it is, right? But yeah, so now, like, coming to your journey in life, right? We have seen that you have gone from being an air hostess and transition to yoga.
Yes.
So that is kind of a huge transition, I would say. I mean, if it's like how shall we say, okay, let's say like a rock star becoming suddenly like a guy who like, I don't know, he becomes something very like different comparing to what he does, right? So how did it happen for you? How did yoga came to play?
Yeah, I'm very excited talking about that.
Okay.
Yoga happened, I would say, during the lockdown. So during the pandemic, the first lockdown, what happened was I've always been battling with anxiety and a lot of overthinking. I think a lot, even when it's not required, even if it's not necessary. I think a lot. And so the first 3 months of lockdown, I was very blessed to be here in Shillong. And when it was time for me to leave back, my family were very reluctant to send me back. So they're like, it was so scary, back then. So they're like, no, why would you want to go? It's not like, we cannot provide you from home. You can be here. We'll help you with something. But so I was very confused. What would I do? And I didn't know what to do. I was in that point where I know a lot of people say that they have talents, they have this talent, they have this talent. And I read somewhere that, everyone, whoever comes to this world, we're always gifted with a talent.
Exactly.
And I would say, no, I don't have any talent. I don't have. And so I was in this phase in my life where I was so confused and a lot of anxiety. I can't sleep at night. Okay, so, and again, on the other end, when the lockdown restrictions were relaxed, my manager was calling me back. Obviously, I had to join back work. True. And then I just extended for a week or two to just, at least rethink with my family members, because my family were against me leaving back Shillong. They're like, no, you just stay here, because back then it was so scary back then. So COVID and everything, so they were like, no, why would you want to leave? Stay back, this and that. And somehow there my anxiety grew even more, but I just said, no, it's okay. I'm just leaving, because I was getting in a very bad place here in Shillong. I was here in Shillong. I had such wonderful family. And that's the thing with anxiety. With anyone with anxiety, you'll be living in the best of place. You'll be having the best of people around you. But you might just be sitting and you don't know what's going on inside that person's head. So there were like battles going on in my head, though I had everything around me. So then I just told myself, no, I have to leave. Let me just leave Shillong, go back to Chennai, and then let me decide once I'm there. And then when I was there, it didn't subside, but it grew even more. And then I would have sleepless nights. And because of all of this,
was it like that time when you were having all those kind of, so forgive me if I'm cutting you off, but that time you were saying that you had a little bit of sickness later on when you about to quit your aviation?
Yes.
Is that same thing?
Yes, it's the same time. It's the same time.
Okay.
It was that same timing itself. And because of that, one of my friends, he suggested me to start yoga. And then I'm like, no, yoga is not for me. Maybe I can go running. maybe not in the gym,
Okay.
but I can go running. But then no, yoga is not for me. It's so slow. It's so boring. I can't even sit and close my eyes for 3 minutes. How do you expect me to be there for 30 minutes? So he told me, it's like, no, you can just start with just 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And collectively, me and my friends, so there were 4 girls, 4 of us stayed together, the girl gang.
Okay.
So we all started practicing yoga. And they were the ones who would teach me because they're from the city. So they are very much used to it. They had it in their school.
Yeah.
So, and for me, it's very new.
Different. Yeah.
It's very new because here in Shillong, none of us are taught yoga.
True.
So for me, it's very new. And then I would learn from them. And then I felt a very peculiar change, positive change in my body. And then I was able to sleep a little bit better. So I'm like, okay, fine, it works. And then I started practice. And then after I think 3 days or 4 days, I'm like, okay, girls, come on, let's do yoga. And I'm like, no, I'm tired. And then so that's how. And then I think later on, it was just the 2 of us from 4. It reduced to 2. And then from 2, finally, I was the only one into yoga. But yoga helped me a lot with my back pain. So I used to have a lot of back pain also because of the heels and lifting bags and all of that. So 7 years doing that every day. Yeah. So, and then it cured my back pain somehow. So I'm like, okay, this is a miracle because my back pain was never, like I went to a physiotherapist and then he's given me a few exercises which I would not do. So obviously I cannot expect it to cure. But then with yoga, somehow some miracle happened. And my anxiety, it was just like, it was like a miracle which happened. And when I saw these changes, that's when I said, okay, this is not something like,
focus jumbo.
Like not some cult belief or something, and it's working. And then after that, I started reading a lot of books on like, other yoga practitioners. And then I see that, okay, fine, it's linked scientifically also, the art of breathing, how it helps us, and how the body movement, how it makes us positive, how positive thinking affects our life, how all of this transforms us completely. So that is my yoga journey.
Wow, that is
so the lockdown, the pandemic, though it was very sad, but it has a positive impact on me.
Light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that. So that's quite cool, man. I mean, how you get into yoga, it's like, it's, how should we say, it's like more or less by accident kind of thing, because from your friends and you were locked in and all that, right? But man, yoga is always one of those things where kind of people, they misperceive as mumbo jumbo. I was like, what they're doing, man? It's like they're standing their feet, the feet is up here. And I told you earlier, it's like that. When you say yoga, it's like you see this hairy ass guy. It's like, with this like all that tika and all. It's like, okay. It's like, aren't you supposed to meditate in the Himalayas or something? But yeah, seeing you here, you don't need to do that, obviously. But man, it's like you being in India, I think India being the place where yoga came to being, right? And this practice has been done for thousands of years, right? From if you look at the Rig Veda, it's been written there as well, right? So you being a person who really understands yoga, how did you did you read about it properly, or did you read books, or do you have a teacher that taught you how to really get more in depth into the practice of yoga, shall we say?
So when I first started, I did buy a lot of books, but I'm not much of a reader.
Okay.
The books are still there.
Okay.
But what I would like to say is that yoga for me, it's more like the experience that I have, my personal experience, what I've seen. So it's not more like, it's nothing like I have to see a validation from someone or see the proof from someone, because I have it in myself. So it happened to me, and it's not a change that happened overnight, but with time, with my consistency, I see the changes that happened in me, and how from that person who would overthink so much for just the smallest thing, I would, bring in hundreds and hundreds of situations in my head and just create this battle inside my head. How that person transformed to a person today who is so carefree and who's living at the moment and who's finding pleasure in even the smallest little thing, like sitting here looking at this Erica palm and looking at this.
I didn't know it was Erica palm. I know it was a palm. Okay, cool. There you go, guys.
I think it's Erica palm.
Okay, okay. I like
And
that.
so that's how I've transformed so much. So I would love, I try to read, but then I'm not much of a reader. So I did not read so far. I've not finished any of those books that I bought, being very honest. I have not finished any of those. But then, yes, again, I feel that I don't need anything as such, because I've seen the changes in myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm a life example here. And I'm not shy, or I don't want to hide about my mental problems or my anxiety. Like I've said, it was very bad. Like, there was one point I was in the best of hotels. I was in Singapore. I was at Gardens by the Bay, and I was watching the sunset. A very beautiful sunset, overseeing that infinity pool. I think it's Marina Bay Sands. Yes, overseeing that, it was a very beautiful moment. And then at that point, if it was now, I would just be there and just admire the beauty. But there, I was thinking, like, is this it to life? Is this it? Like, are we just born, and then after we're born, we go to school, education, and then maybe get married, like have a job, get married? Is that all? So I question myself. But then again, I would say that's also not wrong, because whenever you have such questions and you work on yourself. So I think the right part or the good part is that I dwelt more into myself. I went more into the inner self. So that's the thing about yoga. You're going more inward. Instead of going outward, you're going inward. And so I went inward, and then that's how I found yoga, and that's how I am here today, a yoga teacher. And I would love for everyone else to also benefit from it, because it has helped me. It's like a miracle that happened in my life, both yoga and meditation.
And I feel like you also, you're like a living testament to what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Right? I mean, you are doing. I mean, it's not just like reading books or you qualify and you get a certificate or something, but you actually lived it, which is certainly.
I'm sorry, I did not answer your question. You asked me whether I had a teacher as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so with my schedule, I couldn't have a particular person because my flight schedules were crazy. But I did join an online yoga class, which was yoga by Ekta. She's one of the very good because I've only joined her class and I really love her classes. So, but that was also not regular because I couldn't keep up with the timings. And there was this time for my 28th birthday, I think, I did a solo trip to Goa.
Okay.
And this time, all my years, my birthdays are a lot of drinking and partying and all of that. Okay. All the years up till my 27th birthday, I think. But that time, I wanted to take a solo trip, and it was a sober birthday. So I was sober that day. For that trip, I was alone, and then I met this yoga teacher. So her name is Eva, and she's also one of the people I'll always look up to. She is from Czech Republic, I think. And she's a very wonderful human being. She's lived in yoga. She's lived in Goa. Lived in yoga. Yes. She's lived in Goa for the past 10 years or so. She's a yoga teacher. And what I like about her is she's not that typical person, typical yogi or typical yoga teacher who is just into yoga and say that, I don't drink, I don't do this, I don't do that, I'm just into yoga. No, she's very cool. And the way of teaching and the vibes that I'm getting from her, like, the moment she comes into the room, or there was an ashram where we would practice, the moment she came, I would feel that the positivity, the vibes that she's giving, that's so nice. And it's not like, we've had a long conversation or a long talk. So we would just practice, but our practice were like for long, and she would understand my body and never push myself. So that's something which I also learned from her, and I do that with my students now. And so she's one of she I think she's the only person so far that no now that I did a professional
Okay.
course, so I met with other gurus, but at that point of time she was the first person whom I met face to face who's a yoga teacher, because before that I did yoga with Ekta and it was just virtual.
Okay.
So, and then again, when I was there in Goa for my birthday, I was in this cafe. It's called the Love Temple. So
Okay.
there, it's like a very spiritual place
Okay.
where no alcohol is allowed, no
Okay.
drugs are allowed there. So in the evening, they have a lot of musical instruments
Okay.
played when the sun goes down.
Mhm.
So I was there, and it was a very beautiful day. And I think it was that day that I decided, that was on October 4th,
Mhm.
2021,
Okay.
that I
That's cool.
decided that, I'll leave my job. Like, this is enough.
Mhm.
I'm leaving my job and I'll switch to yoga and I'll take up yoga professionally. So that was the day that I decided on my birthday.
It's cool, man. It's cool. That is, it's on your birthday itself.
Yes, on my 28th
okay.
birthday.
That's
So,
very, very
yeah,
cool.
so I would love to visit that place again
Mhm.
because I really have fond memories. The sunset was so beautiful, and I had these strays, the dogs around me, so
Okay.
many of them, and every time, Indian men. So I was alone in the beach, in the water, in a bikini. So obviously, Indian men seeing
Yeah.
a girl alone. So they started howling and this and that, trying to come near me. And these dogs were like my personal bodyguards. They would just chase them away. And then I'm like, okay, fine. So even if you go on a solo trip, it's all right. Dogs are there to protect you from creepy men. So, so yeah. And then that was such a beautiful day. And then I was just sitting there by the water, by the beach, watching the sunset. And then I said, yes, I think it's time that I step up or I change my profession. And the response I've been getting from Shillong, it's so amazing. It's not even been a month now that I've opened my studio, and actually, to be honest, I've not even had an official opening of the studio because I still have a few more things to be done in the studio. So I thought maybe I'll get all those things done, and then I'll have a official photographer, like photo shoot, and then I'll send it out. But till like I've not even done that, and I have about 20 students.
Wow.
And the people that are coming to my studio, I just love them. Like, they are so warm. They're such warm, kind-hearted people. So it's wonderful. It's a wonderful journey, and I'm so proud of myself also that I'm here. It's a very
Surprise too, I think.
yes,
kind of.
it's a very overwhelming feeling also at the same time. And I'm just thankful to God for everything. It's just
man. That is what I like. It's like you just do it, and I feel like you bringing some kind of thing where it's quite different. I think Shillong really is one of those places where I feel like they really welcome you in open arms, despite the fact that sometimes we tend to have whatever maybe our own opinions are just very polarizing, right? But they like you for who you are, and that's what matters the most. So I just want to say is that maybe this could be a chance for you to like more or less like an official opening. So it's open, right?
Yes, it's open.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
It is.
So but I really like the way you said it. Okay, first and foremost, you creepy man. I gotta say one thing is that that's for all the guys out there. That's not how you approach a girl. You need to respect. But just got like a stray of thought there. But I really like the way you said it. That you even go to the most beautiful places in the world, yet you don't find peace. That is something that it's like we become so indulged with lust and pleasure, right? That we don't even understand that do we actually have peace? We don't have that, right? But you found yours. But how does yoga like help? Because for me personally, when I look at yoga and healing you, it really does help a person, because when you look at anything, you must heal first from the inside, then it heals the outside, right? Kind of thing. Can you explain, like, because for me, when I look at yoga, it's kind of a very spiritual yet abstract thing, right? We can't understand, but we yet understand. So can you explain to me, like, how does yoga help in the healing process, if that makes sense?
Okay. So I always look at yoga as something which, number one, the breath. So with yoga, every movement we synchronize it with the breath. So even in my classes, I keep on saying synchronize with the breath, synchronize with the breath. And I'm sure you must have heard a lot of people saying, give me some space, give me
Yeah.
some space.
Mhm.
So what we try to do what we are doing in yoga is, with every breath, we're trying to make it even more prolonged, even more slower. So we're trying to create a space inside our head, giving a lot of space in our brain. So for all those clogged thoughts, a lot of thoughts are all intertwined together. So we're giving a lot of space there for our thoughts to kind of calm down or settle down, or not becoming too tight or too rigid against each other. So that's what we do in yoga. And number two is that with yoga we stretch our body, we kind of open up. So I always remind also that yoga is not just a form of physical exercise. So with yoga, whatever we do, for example, if we're doing any posture which is opening up towards the sky. So now that we practice in my studio and there's a ceiling, so I say open your chest or open your heart towards the ceiling. Yeah, but actually it's supposed to be sky. Yeah,
Okay.
sky.
You need
Open.
to be dynamic. So no problem.
Yeah. So open your heart towards the universe, and we're opening our heart with these postures, the heart opening postures, and we are ready to receive a lot of love, a lot of healing energy.
True.
So that is how we heal in yoga. And by stretching our body, again we are creating space in our body. So just like we say, give me some space. If somebody is too into you or into your space, we tell them, right, give me some space. So that's what happens with yoga. With the body, we create a lot of space within our body. We give a lot of space to our heart. And then in the mind, with every breath, we're giving again space in our mind for the thoughts to settle down. Sometimes we have a lot of thoughts and we keep judging, like, why am I even thinking about this? Why am I thinking about this? So once your breath is calm, once you give yourself space for these thoughts to even settle in your mind, it's okay if they come. It's completely all right, but you just need to give them space and let them settle in.
Okay.
So that's what I feel.
That's very cool, man. I mean, the thing is about yoga, when you think about it, I think even you, it's always, when you see yoga, it's always peace and tranquility, right? I mean, it's very abstract to talk about this, but how, like, when you talk about yoga having peace, having calmness, right? I think it must start from within first, I guess, right? Yeah, you may stretch whatever you can do anything you want to do, but at the end of the day, it's about the having that kind of feeling of peace and calm inside, right? So can you explain to me, like, if in your own words, kind of thing, because I feel like it's very abstract, but you would be the best judge for that. So how does finding peace in, when we do these stretches, when you do these exercises, how do you find peace through these kind of ways and means or techniques, shall we say, right? Because, yeah.
So in yoga, what happens is, first we have the breathing exercises, okay, to prepare our body. So once we're done with the breathing exercises, once we're done with the breathing sequence, we go to the asanas part, the postures, and lastly we go towards the meditation part. So something which goes wrong with the normal, like with the common people and even me before, that when things go wrong, instead of taking the sequence, what I would just do, just play some YouTube meditation and just sit there and trying to meditate. So that would even do damage to you, to yourself, to your mind. Okay, so you have to do it in a sequence. And if you do it in a sequence, what happens is your mind, it goes into that transcendental point where you think about, like, only you just have positive thoughts. You have positive thoughts, you have positive goals, you have positive aspirations, and it makes you stay in that positive vibe, or it makes you be that person, that transformed person. It can just be for a matter of seconds. So it can just be for like half a second, but that tranquility that you get, that place that you are for just that half a second also, that brings in a lot of impact into your life. So that's what I feel. It can. I don't know if you're understanding what I'm trying to portray.
I'm understanding. I think even the viewers listening, I think that is something that, like, you're right, man, about like the whole thing, the sequencing and all that, because we need that, right? But for me personally, when I look at the world around us, is so chaotic, like you said, lots of negativity, there's lots of things. How do you think, like, because yoga, amongst many people and critics always see like, oh, it's kind of like, is it people doing stretching or whatever it may be, right? But how can, like, yoga impact the people around you, or maybe like have a certain kind of, because if you think about yoga, I think about it as well, is that I was questioning myself yesterday, actually. I was like, how does yoga like impact people, and how does it help people in their own lives, right? I think you'll be the best judge of that, because I look at yoga and I see a certain kind of different way of being fit, but at the same time not just being fit outside but inside as well, right? So how have you seen with your own eyes how it has impacted like the people around you with yoga when it comes to your overall persona kind of thing?
Right. So, what I've seen is that with yoga, again, going to the positivity. So, with yoga, you have only positive thoughts. And I read somewhere that there was a kid, okay, I read or I've seen somewhere, I don't know. There was a child who had this project in school and of growing two pots of plants, okay. So, both pots, it had the same sunlight, the same water, the same. So it was kept in the same place, but it's just that one plant, the plant was fed with a lot of positive words.
Okay.
A lot of positive words, and the other plant was, just yelled at and given all the negative words. So eventually, after 2 weeks, both the plants were given same amount of sunlight, same amount of water, but the plants which was fed with negative words, the plant died, like completely died, and the other one started growing very well. So I've seen that also. I've seen that in my own cousin, my sister. So she's someone who's very doubtful about everything and very negative and very demeaning about herself. She always puts herself down in a joking way, and I keep telling her, no, don't do that, because I used to do that. Okay, like jokingly I'll put myself down, but that's very bad. So always try to lift yourself up. And so I've seen that in her as well, though she doesn't do yoga. So yoga is not only about the asanas part, just stretching and doing a headstand and a handstand. So yoga is your lifestyle every day. So that was what yoga practice was in the ancient days. So yoga was practiced right from the dawn of civilization. And just getting onto your mat and doing the postures, that's not yoga. Yoga is about less gossip, having, like, even if we're just sitting here, sitting in the correct posture, and then even if you're talking to someone, you are there physically and mentally, and you're giving that person your time, not like your mind is wandering somewhere. So all that is yoga. And then I've seen that in her as well. So I would try to I would send all these positive videos and positive podcasts for her to watch. And that's what she has also told me. So she's also another example that ever since she started thinking positive, ever since she started stop putting herself down, like good things started happening into her life. So that's what happens. I think the universe always listen to you. The universe is always there to watch your thoughts, and whatever thoughts that you have, you get them. So I always believe in one thing, that asking, believing, and receiving. So whatever you want, you have to tell it out loud to the universe. You have to tell God that, okay, this is what I want, and believe that you are getting it. Believe that you are there, and also live away as if you are receiving it. So that was what she was also adopting in her life, and good things started happening in her life. So that's what I've seen.
I like, really, man. I mean, this is really an eye-opening talking to you, because the thing is, we always have this kind of, me myself, like I always hear these people, it's all about the energy, right, that you have with you, right? It's all about the energy, who you are, and all that stuff. But I really never thought of that. I was really never thought of that. But my dad also is kind of that kind of person where you have to be like positive. You have to be, because
Right.
yoga is kind of a thing where I think it's like you said, it's a walk of life. It's a common thing, and it's like everyday
Mm-hmm.
thing that you do,
Yes.
right? Because I feel like the viewers would really, sometimes might critique you and might say like, oh, it's all, something that maybe the energy is not there, something like that. But I feel that, we should not play around with energy, because it's
Right.
there. I have
Mm.
seen that myself because, like you said about the plant, right? If you like scold it, or maybe if you give it
Mm-hmm.
positivity, it grows and flourishes,
Yes.
right?
Right.
But
Right.
for the plant that didn't get much of a like a
Mm.
compliment or all that stuff, it didn't grow properly, or maybe grow abnormally, shall we say,
Mm-hmm.
right? How is important, like, even though it's not yoga's perspective, but how is it important to have that the right energy, like the whole your energy that you portray to people, how you talk to
Mm-hmm.
that, like you being a yoga teacher, do you think it's very important to have the right energy when it
Yes.
comes to
Yes.
anything?
Yes. Yes. Of course, and that's very important. And like sometimes, many times, now that I have the studio, there are many people who comes and then they first just come and see the studio first. But I think what they're trying to do is not just to come and see the studio how it looks, but see the person as a whole. So again, now if I'm giving the negative vibes, and if I'm so, if I'm not in that frame of mind, then obviously they would think, how can such a person be teaching me?
Mm.
But so many people who came even before they started joining the classes, that's what they were telling me, like, you're so humble, you're so nice. So there was this, she's a physiotherapist and she's my yoga student now. And then so she asked me, she's like, were you an air hostess? I got to know that you're an air hostess. So I said, yeah, that's me. And then she's like, oh, then but still you're so nice. And like maybe that's what people think, that maybe you're an air hostess, so you'll be like
Yeah.
very proud. And
Mhm.
so all of that, it matters a lot,
Mhm.
because when they come, they're not just seeing the studio. Maybe you
Mhm.
can be having a studio in one of the very good places, exotic locations, but if you yourself, you're portraying that negative energy,
Mhm.
then I don't think so anybody would be there, would even like to learn from you.
Mhm.
And having that positive energy around you, I think it's I think it just automatically, it has to
Yeah, yeah.
automatically be
Mhm.
there,
Mhm.
because you cannot portray.
Mhm.
Energy is just energy,
Which you
right?
have, right?
So you cannot portray, and
Mm.
I think that happens
And
over the years. Or I don't know, like what you said about me also.
mm,
Like for me, I really don't know how you feel, or how do I spread my energy. Well,
you do in a good way. Seriously, I like you always feel like when you meet someone, you always have that initial talk that you have, last
Mhm.
impression kind of thing. Last
Yeah.
impression is the last impression kind of thing. When I first talked to you, I like in the first phone call we had, the ice breaking session, I was like, I understand that you had a lot of enthusiasm and
Mm.
positivity the way you spoke, despite being late. That day was 8:30, I'm not mistaken, 7:30ish.
Yes,
I
yes.
called you up, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, you were like really happy, you were joyful. I mean, if it was a long session, oh my goodness, this guy, hello,
Yeah,
what
it
do you
is.
want, man? So you're like, okay. But you were positive, you were lively, so that shows that yoga does help.
Yeah, it
It
does.
does,
It
it
does.
does.
Yeah, I'm the life example
Yeah,
here.
exactly. The living example. I like that. I like that. Seriously, it's really an inspirational story, shall we say? Because
Thank you.
we tend to have certain kind of perceptions of different people, but
Mm.
why we have this podcast is that we try to bring as many people to show their point of
Mm.
views, right, in life, and you having a different kind of point of view as well when it comes to yoga and so whole, right? But then I really like the way you said it. Not the I mean, like, if you think about it, because sometimes if you look at yoga, right, and we think of NG, the room that you're in, right, if
Mm.
you're in the right surrounding, you have positive vibes. You're like, yeah, no
Right.
problem,
True.
it's like good.
Mm. Mm.
But why I like about yoga, what you said is that sometimes like we tend to be surrounded by negativity, but but at the end of the day, we should have our own inner peace kind of thing.
True.
But I think that develops over time, I think.
Yeah, so you need to train your brain to see only the good things. So I always try to live by that thought, training your brain to only see the good things. So our thoughts is one of the most powerful weapons that we have, that a man can have. So once your thoughts, the moment you can start tricking your brain and start training your brain, then I think automatically you have that in you.
That is something that you have to be rational sometimes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So even if you're in the most of, so I'm always like that, and sometimes my friends or my family members, they get mad at me, like, I'm just trying to pick out the positive thing from the worst of things.
Say, okay, chill, man, just chill. Don't be too. I totally understand that.
So I think the other day, what was that? There was something. Okay, so it was something very like. Something which is very bad, and I don't think anybody could see the positive in that. Oh, I think about the traffic in Shillong.
Oh, okay. Cool,
yeah.
Cool.
So Shillong's traffic. So it's crazy, the traffic here. But looking for the positive in it, what I said was, I'm glad that we have this traffic here, that I can drive in this traffic, so that even if I go to any part of India or any part of the world, I'll not be like, no, I can only drive in Shillong because there are less cars and there's no traffic. So and my friend is like, what shit is that? Like that.
What the F, man?
Yeah. So how can you find positivity in that? But it's true, right?
It's true.
Now if you can manage this, you can go to Mumbai and it's the same.
Easy.
It's fine.
The extreme, if you can, I think, guys, if you're driving, I think if you can handle the traffic here and going through these narrow streets, I can guarantee you'll be the best driver in the whole India. No?
So again, looking at the positivity in this.
Yeah, man.
So always look for the positivity in everything, and you'll always find.
That's true. Yeah, man, that positive mindset is one of the things that I feel that we lack. Even myself, sometimes I would definitely be like, like, okay, it's a dull day, okay, whatever it may be. But sometimes I feel like yoga is kind of a thing where you go through, like you said, everyday life, right? Listening to good music, sometimes that could be like kind of like a yoga thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe hanging out with friends, you have good conversation like we're having right now.
True.
Kind of thing. It's really important that I think it's not just being in a studio and all, but it's the cycle of life, right? Kind of thing. So I always had this impression about yoga is that it's always about being in the studio, like I said, having that sadhu being there and all that stuff. But yes, I think Shillong is really receiving you very well.
Yes, very much.
Okay.
That's the beautiful thing about Shillong, and the beautiful thing about the people of Shillong. Always encouraging you and receiving you with open arms, with their warm hearts. And my first student was my mom. She's still my student now.
Okay.
So again, my mom is a very supportive mother. So she was my first student, and then her sisters. So I have a very strong supportive family, and then from them I have their friends, and then
that's cool.
So yeah.
And you go ahead.
No, yeah.
I told you I have that bad habit of cutting people off, man.
That is it. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're so right. I like the way you transition to family, because you're a family gal. I told you earlier, and you have like a huge family. I was in my research. I was like, whoa, she has a huge family. So I better not mess around. But I was like, you have a huge family. So man, I mean, having such a huge family, and I think I got to name a few people. Eric is there.
Oh yeah.
Nolan.
Oh my god.
You already love kids and all that.
Yeah. So, Nolan was like, he still is, but during the lockdown, he was just a few months old.
Okay.
So our day would just start with the night we would. Plan what are we baking, what are we cooking for the next day, and then once we're done, we're just waiting for Nolan. Okay, it's Nolan's nap time, fine, let's just sit. And then the moment Nolan is awake again, we are like just back. I was so obsessed with Nolan, I would say. I was obsessed.
Biggest fan. Biggest of the biggest.
Yeah, and he's so handsome and cute, and Nolan. There's another baby now, Wami. So he's also so cute and adorable. So
If you're watching this in the future, here's your aunt, right?
No, I'm their cousin.
There you go. So you're gonna watch this, and when you're old enough to understand,
Wami
big shout out to you, man.
Yeah.
She's a Girl, the
No,
boy.
no, both are boys.
Well, yeah, man, you see that? Rephrase that. So yeah. Okay, that's so cool, man. But family is family, man. At the end of the day, you have a very strong, cohesive
I do.
family, and you're gonna go to a birthday after this as well.
Yes.
And I think your grandmom,
My great grandmom is
great
also there.
My goodness,
Yeah,
man.
she's 98 years old.
Woohoo.
We call her Moo. And recently, I think just a month back,
Mhm.
so I was having that a little difficult time. It was that time when I wanted to start my studio, and she was very sick in the hospital. So, but she's a very strong woman. So, she's one of those very early entrepreneurs of Shillong, I would say.
Okay.
And there's so much to learn from her. So we are where we are today. It's because of her.
Okay.
So when she just left her hometown, she's all the way from Jowai side. So she came walking all the way from there to Shillong.
Wow.
And so she's seen the worst of days, and there's so much to learn from her. And I think till now, whenever I see these women entrepreneurs award or any of those, no, I would always think that she deserves that. Yeah, she's one of the early ones. She's done so many businesses, some illegal business also back in her days.
You have to get through life, man.
Yeah, but she is one of the heroes in my life.
That's I
I
see
know.
lots of photos as well, right?
Yes.
Man, she's even I think just hearing from you, it's like a huge like inspiration, because
She is.
we tend to live in a more soft generation where we have everything,
Right,
it's like, okay, you
right.
want food, there's whatever it may be, but I think we really need to develop that kind of like hustle
True.
in
Yeah,
ourselves,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're a hustler yourself. You came out of you came from aviation and suddenly starting a yoga class, I mean yoga studio, and you being a yoga teacher as well, right? But how important is family, man? Because we tend to lose value
True.
of family nowadays. Like, okay, they are there for sure, right? But then how important is family to you?
For me, my family is everything, and they play a very important role in my life. And that strong backbone that I have is always my family. And it is also one of the reasons that I wanted to come back home, to move back to Shillong, because like I said, during the lockdown, they wanted me to come back. So, and I've lived my years, I've experienced everything, almost everything. Yeah. So I thought, okay, fine. And being from a matrilineal society, so I would love to carry on with that. I will definitely.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Duh.
Yes. So family is everything for me, and I'm so blessed to have such a wonderful and beautiful family, which is also one of the reasons that I'm here back in Shillong again, because they wanted me to be here. And they're always there for me, always they're very important for me. And if you see me here in Shillong, I have very few friends. So maybe that one of the reasons is because back then when I was studying, every time my friends would call me, let's hang out, let's go out. There's always a function in our house, like I said.
Yeah.
Always
Today
a
as
function.
well.
Today, tomorrow. So just because of the many functions in the house, I don't get to go out with friends, and now I just don't have anymore.
Just don't interrupt the conversation, man.
It's okay, let him be.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why it's either me in the studio now that I'm here for good. It's just me, like it's just yoga and family for me. Yeah, because I think I have my friends in the family itself. My mom's sisters are quite young, so they're like more like my friends. So like yesterday we had this karaoke night, and then on weekends we go to the farmhouse and we all have this the get together kind of thing, yeah, with everyone. So it's I'm so blessed. I'm truly immensely blessed to have such a wonderful family. And they are so important to me, all of them. I can't say, okay, I just like Nolan, I just like Wami. No, everybody is equally important to me. Yeah.
What about what is like the greatest advice that I don't know if I started this name, but Moo has ever gave you?
The greatest advice is that she's given me a lot, and she talks a lot about her days. So she'll always say that she always remind us that you always have to give your best in everything. So she would always tell me the story about once she used to work as a helper, as a maid in someone's house, and that person would, like, to check how good her work is, to just check if there's any dust on the room. That person would actually remove her slippers and check with her feet. So she's like, in life you always have to give 100, like if you have to give 100%, but from your end you have to give 110%, because the one who's watching over you, there's always someone who's watching over you. So when that person who's watching over you, you should not give that person any reason to object your work, or to say that you're not doing good in this, or you're not doing good in that, or so that's always the good advice that she's always given me. And one thing that I've always seen from her is that we always make fun about this. Okay, so if somebody is a miser in our house, like not giving enough cash for anything, we'll be like, "Ni wajle ako mimu," because she till now, when we leaves the house, she still lives in that old era.
Old school.
So very old school. So she'll just give us 20 rupees, and so she values that a lot. She values money a lot. So from who she was back then, and who she is now, and where we are today, it's truly all because of her.
That's true.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, Kong, Bishibun, you have raised a very raised in English. Okay,
Great granddaughter.
Yeah, great granddaughter, and
Great-granddaughter,
I think she has definitely made you proud. So
I
it's very
hope
cool.
so.
Definitely, man.
Yes.
But yeah, I think family, because when I look at when I look at the scene of the energy of yoga, right, it's all about like like doing the right things, being in the right situations,
Right.
being with the right people. I think it's just more or less the circle of life, right, where it's not just about, like I said earlier, it's not about just being in studio or having this kind of like the speaking in mantras or whatever maybe,
Yeah.
but it's about surrounding yourself with the right people
Right.
and having the right energy towards life, right? But yeah, man. But also you have a very huge family. That's why I'm saying is that you have even dogs as well.
Yes, yes.
You have, I think, a husky and various others, and I think you
Yeah.
have Mac as well.
Mac,
Yes.
oh my god, he's a headache sometimes, but he's very sweet.
He runs around like, man, he's like, he saw you for the first time kind of thing.
Yeah. He gets so excited when he sees me after a few months, that which is also bad for his health, because he gets too excited, and I make him even more excited, that at night when he sleeps off, he gets fits. So he keeps getting fits. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So now that I'm here for good, then nobody makes him too excited. So now he's better.
Okay.
But he has this condition for like him, and we just have to give him medicine. There's no permanent cure for it, but we shouldn't get him too excited. Yeah,
should be cool. Should be chill.
always.
You're a
Just
yoga
like,
teacher. Yeah, exactly.
just like me.
So yeah, but
So everywhere I go, I still carry Max hair around.
oh, that was on. Oh, damn, man. Okay, cool. I think he's a dude, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. So I think before going to any relationship, I think he should get his approval first, because he'll get pissed off, I think. Yeah, it's very cool, man. I mean, but you really have a soft center towards dogs, I have seen, and you said that you were surrounded by dogs as well, more or less strays,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we had a talk earlier that you planning for some projects of any sort which helps.
Yes,
cope with
in the
dog.
future, I would love to. I would love to have a place to help the strays, because we live in the main road,
Yeah. True.
and it's very saddening to see the dogs, that their conditions there. I try to help to the best of my ability, and but sometimes we lack. I lack funds, and so later on, yes, I am planning for that. I would love to have a foundation for the dogs, where the strays, especially, not just the dogs, any stray, any be it a cat, a dog, any cattle. Sometimes, especially in the cities, the cattle, they always get run over by a bus, by
bypass one
cars.
example.
Yeah, so it's very saddening.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a project on that and to work on that. Yes, I will do
True.
that.
Definitely DM her if you guys have very like-minded minds,
Yes,
and that'll
yes,
be
I
very
would love
cool.
that.
Yeah,
Let's do it together.
exactly. And more people will really help more
Yes,
people.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
right, right.
So, sometimes I always have the feeling, since we're talking about dogs here, all my guests, some of them, they do have dogs, and after a very long day, they come back and you have a dog, waiting for
Mm.
you. Do you think, you being a yoga teacher, sometimes you will have bad days, definitely,
Yeah.
right? Even though maybe some pet peeve that a person does or anything, you'll be like, oh, I'm so annoyed by this guy or whatever it may be. But I think coming back after a long day, and having a dog by your side, it really helps, I think,
Yeah,
right? Your
yeah. That's
peace.
also another kind of therapy, I think.
Mm,
Just sitting there and then that happiness, no, that genuine happiness. I
exactly.
don't think so. There'll be even a boyfriend or any husband or
True,
anyone
true.
would do that.
Exactly.
So
Man.
before, whenever I come back, Mac gets too excited that he even pees a little when he
Oh,
sees me. So I'm sure no one would do that.
who
seeing
doesn't?
me.
Yeah. Just joking, man.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it is a therapy, and
exactly.
it's so wonderful to just be around them.
I think it's very
Yeah.
important, man. But dogs are a different level of, I
Yeah,
don't know,
they are
something about
just,
them.
yeah, they are just,
Okay.
oh my God.
I'm more of a cat person myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
but
have cats too
oh,
at
really?
home. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
But I'm more like a
A
dog
dog
person.
person.
So,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
I think there's always a huge rivalry between these two. But definitely.
Yeah, I've seen, but for me, I like both. Like,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
both are
It's more or
nice.
less, yeah. I think they help in the same cause of
Mhm.
helping you, right? Which is
You're
always very
right.
good. Yeah. And man, I feel like, if I just look at what we have talked about, it's more or less like in life, you have to go through so much experience to
True.
reach to a sense of, nirvana, shall we say, right? Kind of thing. And I think you have reached that point.
Oh, wow.
Not there yet, but I think with time,
Yes, yes,
maybe
yes,
when
yes,
I don't know when, maybe tomorrow, or maybe after 10 years,
Yeah,
20 years from now, but I think you're on your journey there, which
Yes,
is
I
very cool.
am.
Man, seriously. So you also were into making pots as well, I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
went to making
Yeah.
pots as
I
well.
would love to have that here because when I was doing
Mm.
that and then I posted on my Instagram page, and lots of people from Shillong were saying, like, we wish we have that here.
Mhm, mhm.
So sometimes I feel I want to do so many things.
Mhm. So many things, but so little time.
Yeah, so I was talking to my aunt,
Mhm.
and then we were like, okay, fine, maybe we could just get that machine and then have it here because
True,
that's
true, true.
also a therapy again.
Yeah,
it,
true.
it makes you so calm,
Mm.
and you don't need swift hands for
Exactly.
making for pottery. You have to be so slow and need to have the patience to pull it out and bring the shapes into it.
Exactly.
So it calms your mind, it calms your brain, obviously, because it's a slow process. So that's also something good that you brought
Yeah.
brought
I
that out.
was like, really, like, it's quite, you are more or less like, you should be a yoga teacher, because the only things that you do, it's like relating to like something positive, something calm, which is very cool, man.
But before yoga, I was not at all. I would never even think of going into a pottery class, because I would feel like, okay, what is that? I might as well just go and
just have a great time and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the world can, even though you have everything, but it can even give you like the biggest void that you'll never like can imagine, right? Can dig you that void, which is very scary though, going through that route. But the thing that, since we're talking about family, right? I think, as I was doing my research, the most touching thing is when, your friend sent you a letter, I think, about, just want to say, how are you? Are you doing good? Man, sometimes I feel like that is really, really important.
True.
How do you feel like, I mean, that time, I think even that time sending a letter will be like, oh, what the F, like, a letter, like, but nowadays, like giving a Christmas card, or maybe you're giving a letter, man, it's really, I think it's really touching.
It is.
When you got that card, how do you feel, man?
It's a different kind of feeling because not everybody does that, and someone taking out time to write a letter for you,
Posting
and
it.
posting it means a lot. And I'm more like like a service kind of person, so I would appreciate more if you show me service instead of a lot of materialistic things. Or So that, or maybe, cooking a meal
Mhm.
or doing something out of your way and wholeheartedly.
Mhm, mhm,
And so it's a wonderful feeling, and even I would love to do that
mhm.
too.
One day.
Yes.
That's really cool. I mean, if sometimes I feel this, even though people say that it's gone, but if you give a card or something, it really
Huh.
touches the heart,
It
man.
is. It
Well,
does.
oh,
It
I mean,
does.
I
Of
don't
course.
get the e-card. I was like, that is something
Right.
that is, it's
Yeah.
like I don't feel like it resonates
Yeah.
too well. But yes, but we're talking about your calmness and everything. You have a very adventurous side of
Oh
yourself too.
yes, very much.
So you were, I saw you caving as
Oh
well, went
yeah, that's one of the
skiing.
beautiful experiences.
Okay, okay.
So we are truly blessed here to be in
Yeah, yeah.
Meghalaya. I still remember that day, and before we reached the cave, we had
Mhm,
to trek about at least half an hour or something.
mhm.
And once you're there inside, there were parts where we just had to roll ourselves to reach towards the other end, because there
Oh,
were, the gap was very little, just
yeah,
this
yeah.
much, and then you had to roll and then reach there.
Mm.
I was there again with my aunt, and I was more worried about her
Uh-huh.
because she had like frozen shoulder.
Okay, okay.
So I was very scared for her. And there were parts where they had to tie us with a rope. So for me, luckily I could climb on my
Okay.
own, but for her they had to put a rope around her
Okay.
and then just pull her up. And there were portions where we had to swim there, and it's such a beautiful, and I would love to do that again now that I'm into yoga and meditation. Just being there in the dark, and
Exactly.
it's such a beautiful feeling.
Such, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a guest here named Naomi, and
Yes, I watched that. Yeah, I
she
watched that.
came over
Yes.
and she
Huh.
talked about the thing that really, like, getting
Huh.
immersed in nature, and it's such a therapeutic thing. And I like the way
Yes.
she said it, is that she said that my church, people go to church, right? I go to the like nature to have my
Wow.
own church, right? So kind of thing. It's really cool where you get certain kind of how shall we say, man, a certain kind of therapy, kind of
Right.
peace. We have our own kind
Our
of
own
peace.
peace, yeah.
I think you have proven that, and you've spoke a lot about that, right? But yeah, I mean, this conversation was really awesome. And you said that you have no talent. That is something that's an understatement. You can sing
No,
too.
that was before.
Yeah, you can
Oh yeah, you think I can sing?
Yeah, I saw you. I think it's like that time you still had that. What's called that app, man? Like,
Oh,
you do, like,
yeah,
carry underwater. Smule. Yes. Before we were so stupid. Before we were like, I was seeing like, because it's like kind of like it's already pre-recorded, right? That thing, kind of thing.
Like a karaoke.
But you're
kind
good,
of.
man. Singing.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So you can have a yoga class and maybe record your own songs and play it in front of them. That'll be cool.
Thank you.
Man.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
do that. Yeah.
But have you ever thought of going towards singing? Maybe releasing a single or something?
We just sing at home and do a lot of
Okay.
karaoke's at home.
Okay.
But I haven't thought about doing that. But I would love to.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite artist?
Oh my God, that's a very bad question for me. So I become very blank when somebody asks me that. No, let's skip that.
Okay, last but not the least.
Okay.
What is what is your favorite go-to karaoke song?
Okay, let me think from yesterday's song.
Okay.
A Whole New World from
Oh, Aladdin.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the first song we played yesterday. Thank God we had that karaoke session yesterday. Or else I'll even think for that and then I'll ask you to skip again.
I forget about that. I don't know that. Just go away, man. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, man, you're full of talent, though. Seriously, I mean, you're so much a vibrant person. I think people would definitely benefit from what we have talked today.
Yeah, I hope
what we have,
so. I
the
really
conversation
hope
that we had. So, what is your, shall we say, your last advice for a person who's watching this? Not last advice, but before you leave this podcast and all that stuff, it's like, what kind of advice or wisdom do you want to give to your viewers, or maybe your supporters as well, and the listeners as well? Maybe like kind of a thing where I think it's so important, because nowadays we have lost sight of peace, because we have so many people nowadays, going through a lot mentally, psychologically. Mental health is one thing. So what is your take on, just like a tip for them to at least get through the day, kind of thing?
So what I would like to say is that whatever you go through in life, just trust the process. If you're trusting the process, if you're leaving everything to the universe, you're leaving everything in the hands of God, everything will fall in place. And live every day with a positive mindset. So even when you wake up in the morning, which I used to do back in those days, the moment I wake up in the morning, I take my phone and I scroll onto something. So you really don't know what feed will come on your phone when you wake up in the morning. So one thing which you can start adopting from now is at least 1 hour right after you wake up, do not use your phone. Let your phone be aside, and start adopting at least 5 healthy habits. Not healthy also. It can just be any 5 things, but do it continuously for at least 7 days, and after that you can start adopting for 14 days and then 21 days. So it's scientifically proven that if you do anything continuously for 21 days, it becomes a habit. So your 5 things that you can do in the morning, number 1 can just be not looking at my phone. So that's easy, right?
Very, very easy.
Yeah.
It's hard for me though. Anyway, okay.
So don't look at your phone. And then maybe the number 2 thing is have a glass of water and then freshen up, or just read maybe just a verse from the Bible or from any of the holy books.
Yes.
Or maybe if not any of the holy books as well, any of the books which you like, or maybe just you can use your phone for this one.
True that.
Yeah, and you can just look out for any positive quote for the day for you to start the day. And so you can adopt any of these habits and let them form a habit into your life. And go through every I think it's very important that we live in the moment and we find happiness in the smallest of things in life. So the moment you start finding happiness in the smallest of things in life, you don't need a big thing, you don't need a vacation. Of course, even I do need a vacation once in a while.
Yes,
but what I'd like to say is that sometimes we think, no, okay, fine, maybe if I move to that city, I'll be happy. If I get that job, I'll be happy. No, you can be happy while you're here. You can be happy while doing the present job, but just changing your mindset. So everything is positivity. Just live every day. Yes, live every day with a lot of with a positive note. Start your day with a positive mindset and develop these habits. And I'd like to quote my tagline of the studio, which is stretch your body, calm your mind, align your energy, and everything will fall in place. And I'm here to vouch you for that. I am here to vouch you for that because I saw it in myself. I was never someone who would get into yoga, but I was someone who would overthink, who would just play unimaginable scenarios in my head, like what if this, what if that. So all of that. But here I am today, always living in the moment. Sometimes I still overthink maybe a little when things go wrong, but then again I just kind of align my energy and I just get back in that right track. So yeah, that's all that I would like to say. And just be happy.
Exactly.
Be happy.
Yeah, I think, I like when you said small things in life, right? We always miss that. We always see the big picture. Oh, you have to do that, do this. But I think the small things like family, friends, tell them, I love you, because sometimes that's one thing that's, we are so caught up with the world nowadays, right? I think listen to some good music, listen to our podcast if you like it. So always have good conversation with someone, and that's what matters the most. And I think we had a great conversation today.
Yes.
I think
very
you
much,
really
very
opened up
much.
your soul to the people and to the listeners and the listeners and the viewers as well. So you want to give any shout out to anyone out there who will be watching this very soon? You want to give any shout out to any person you want to say? The stage is yours.
Oh, thank you very much. So firstly, thank you so much, Iba, for this opportunity, for bringing me here. Iba and June, both of them. And I feel before even coming here, just a few days before you contacting me, I was thinking, oh, it would be so nice. I was watching Jay Shetty's podcast, and then I was like, oh, it would be so nice if somebody, or if I could conduct one, or if somebody calls me for one. And so this is the thing about having good thoughts, positive thoughts. Whatever you think, if it's a good one, and the universe will always listen to you. So thank you for that. Shout out to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so happy to be here, and I would love each and every one of you to benefit from this talk. I hope we do not blabber too much. And And I hope this benefits you, and I hope you try to adopt those healthy habits or any habit.
True that.
And I wish each and every one of you have a better life, a happy life.
Wow. Peace, love, and positivity by logic. Anyway, so yes. So thank you very much for being
Thank
in
you.
the
Thank you very
podcast,
much.
for enriching the people with like positivity and giving a different side of yoga, which is very, very important. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for
Thank
listening.
you.
And yeah, sometimes in life, I think you just need to calm yourself down
Yes.
and breathe a bit, right?
Once you're calm, everything will fall in place.
I think I agree. So yeah, without further ado, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and everything is down in the description down below. You can follow her. And yeah, can you tell like where is the location of
Okay.
your studio, Escape
Alright.
Studio, and what time is it open and all that stuff?
All right. So my studio is Laitumkhrah Main Road, and it's right behind Peppermint Salon, Bata Showroom. So it's right behind. So that's where I live.
Okay.
And the studio is in the terrace. So it's newly built. It's very pretty. It's very nice. Very nice view of the mountains and the sky. It's just always so pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
And the sky looks so good all the time. We are so blessed with the mountains, the sky, the weather, and the classes timings. Yeah, so I have my sessions right from 6:30 in the morning. So there's a session at 6:30, there's a session at 7:30 and 8:30.
Okay.
And after that, I take personal classes either for prenatal, postnatal, therapy yoga.
Okay.
So I'm specialized in prenatal, postnatal, and
Okay.
therapy yoga. So for
Okay.
back pain, migraine, diabetic. So I'm
Okay.
specialized in that. So during the day, I take these personal sessions, and then again in the evening, I start again from 5:30.
Okay.
Then there's a 7:30 batch, but now from Monday I'll have to start a 4:30 batch as well. So thank you so much for the
Yeah.
people who've been joining. Because of you all, I am here today, and I would love to see more of you. And let's change this world. Let's change Shillong, and let's all make Shillong a more happier and positive place to live in.
I agree 110%. So
Let's
do
do it.
follow her. She'll be in the description down below, her Instagram, and I think I'm gonna write the location and maybe
Yes.
your official phone number, your official
You're
office number. I mean studio number. Sorry. So yeah. So without further ado, do follow her, and do if you want to know more about her, it's all in the description down below. The location will be given down below as well. So yes, guys, before we end the conversation, I'd like to say thank you for listening, thank you for watching. Until next time, have a great conversation with someone. Sometimes have a good beverage as well. And yes, thank you, good night, and until next time, Lofi Evenings Podcast, episode 13, signing out.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Very nice. And I like your ring. I was just noticing it.
Oh yeah.